his interaction with you. So you read any Pale literature, I guarantee you will find that their history began at a particular point, and it usually with what is called the Greco-Roman period. This is the height of their what they call the civilization, the Grecian period. You see, now we know that they were made known to the world primarily, right, through this period. You know what I mean? But at a certain point, when they came out of the northern, what we call the refrigerated portions of the earth, and began to pass now what is called Western Europe, what is called the Middle East or Middle Eastern Asia and East Asia, when they passed these three citadels and came back into the southern kingdoms, you would find that they were living at their lowest state until they came back into you. And all the kingdoms that were these southern kingdoms that we now know of as Greece, Ionia, fabled kingdoms that we hear about today, like the what they call the kingdom that they say this country was a part of. What's the Atlantis and other kingdoms? You would find that all of these were actually literal black physical kingdoms that existed upon this earth. You see, and so now the serious problem becomes this, right? And this why it makes that constitutional recitation of children rule of you so serious, right? Ancestors were literally came with this earth. We have no history. And that's the first thing you would find. Yeah, when you actually go into the true discovery of the black man in relations to this planet, you will find that you have no history. You would find that you could find the history. You literally could find the beginnings of the Pale Asian, of the Pale Arab, of the Pale European. But you cannot find the beginning of when you came onto this planet. You literally came with the planet. Last year, right? At the last meeting, we was talking right? We was talking about the 6 skeletons when you, Brother Stephen, was explaining from the position of what we call when a person is deprived of melanin, right? What medical condition we call that today? My granddaughter has albinism, right? Okay, but there is a scientific aspect of it in which that concept in which you speak from actually fit into. Now, this debate was extremely important to understand because this set the stage for us to comment on, in fact, to access the information we would access today. And I would venture to say that had this debate not occurred and had our ancestors primarily Sheikh Anta Diop and Théophile Benga from the Sudan, West Africa area, that had not they set this precedent, that the world would have looked radically different in relations to the knowledge that we have begun to reacquire in our refinding of ourselves. But there was a raging debate in the 1800s, and the debate consisted of this. The Europeans had controlled what we call the scientific scholarship at that time. Their whole philosophy was that black people were inferior and that they were superior, and that they were the oldest known race upon this planet, right? And they did everything they could in relations to through archaeology, through anthropology, and through many of the scientific mediums our ancestors actually created, that they would come in contact to and begin to stamp as if they created these things, right? To try to prove it. They basically excavated all over Europe, could not find any skeleton that would support the fact that they were the oldest what they call race. They would go into Asia because once it could not be found amongst themselves, quite naturally they could not basically allow the black man to take this mantle, because the whole theory was this. In the raging debate, there was a standard set. Whoever created and if anyone's familiar with John Henry Clark, he was one of the primary promoters of this. Great black historian, right? He Théophile Obenga, Sheikh Anta Diop, and many of the historians in fighting that debate with the European and the Asian scholarship at that time said whoever created the pyramids was at the apex of civilization. Whoever created the pyramids was at the apex of civilization. So as we discussed, with the flick of a pen, the Europeans, through their primarily military dominance at that time, were able to, with the flick of a pen, remove Ethiopia and Africa out of the continent. And this is where the pseudo concept of Africa and what they call Africa beyond the Sahara came into play. And they made it look like black people only existed what they called beyond the Sahara. And anything that was in the vicinity or in the northern regions of Africa, these were pale Europeans, and if it couldn't be translated to Europeans, Arabs who came in and basically brought their knowledge and began to basically civilize the southern kingdoms. Now the irony about this is this: all literature show that true knowledge of civilization never flowed northward to south. That in fact all scholarship show that in only one way information flowed. Always from where? From the south to the north. Always it was like that. And it never changed even to the day. You see? And then you could look at the climatic and environmental conditions which would actually support that. The southern kingdoms were always places, and you will see this in every, for some reason, I don't fully even understand this, why in every nation you would always find in the northern regions of most every nation, use the United States, even for example, the northern regions are usually the what? The coldest regions. Yeah. And the southern regions would be usually what? The warmest, but would become the breadbasket. This was where most of the food and everything would grow. Well, quite naturally, civilization almost always began when man is able to always what? Control the process of cultivation, control the process of harnessing. It's never in the freezing cold where those things are never created. Right. You see? So civilization has always sprung up from south and always went north. And in fact, when those who came from us and went north, when they